Yeah, he swore before the mic got here.
Right now, I have to stop saying
like that word.
Coming up on the DLS Stars pregame show, it's game 5. Backs against the wall. This is must win. So let's get to it.
Get it
right now.
boys.
This is the DLLS Stars pregame show. Our Stanley Cup playoff coverage is brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. And by Happiest Hour, your home base and the best place to catch the NHL playoffs and cheer on the Dallas Stars. Just steps away from the AAC. The ultimate place with 50-plus beers and 40-plus TVs for all the big moments every single game day. Happiest Hour, your favorite spot for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Welcome, everybody, on both our regular YouTube channel as well as watching live on Victory Plus. Happy to have you here for Game 5 pregame show on DLS, getting ready for, of course, a big must-win game for the Dallas Stars facing a 3-1 hole. Before we get to all that, though, the $36 Die Hard Summer Flash Sale ends tonight at midnight. So the start of summer, or at least what feels like it around here, perfect time to become a DLLS diehard at a great discounted rate. Includes a free t-shirt. Rep your favorite Dallas teams. It never goes out of season. And, of course, you can check it all out at alldlls.com/intro. Welcome in our better half. His name's Craig Ludwig. I'm Owen Newkirk. Here's our producer, John Andersen, also known as the What Chaos National Show's best friend. They loved him the other day. So let's start with the obvious. We spent a lot of time being critical of the Dallas Stars in our show yesterday with you and Sean talking about some of the things
mostly
that
me.
You didn't like. I think Sean was pretty critical too. Here's my question. I was going to get to it yesterday and we just ran out of time. What gives you hope for tonight?
I hope for them to win. I mean,
okay, do you have any reasons for that hope, or is it just blind, I want another game, I hope they keep going?
You know, I hope that I hope they wake up the 5-on-5 game by playing a little bit more direct in front of the goaltender at the other end of the rink, which is what I squawked about for an hour yesterday. So I just hope there's more directness to their game. And I think, you know, and they're going to bring, you know, an important defenseman as a piece back. And I think that helps them regardless, because it's going to be a little bit about Miro, right? I mean, when Miro came back, how was he in game one? Not so good. When Ekholm came, how is he going to be tonight? But what it does help them being on the road, if Ekholm is anywhere near to 80-some% for him, now not having that matchup ability, now they have Kulak and possibly Ekholm where they need them. You know, they'll have one of those two guys on the ice at the same time. It sounds like they're not doing the 11-7
Sounds like
deal.
they're not, yeah.
So they must be pretty confident that he's ready to go. And I think part of this is probably for them, obviously, is to get him a couple games in because they think they're going on to the Cup. But when you get back to Dallas, I just think that you have to make this game uncomfortable for the goaltender. I think when you look at anything past game one where he was flailing around and you saw why he was, because there was people inside between their coverage and the goaltender. And he didn't know whether to or wind his watch. You know what I mean? And so
I actually do.
I was.
I think put up or shut up would be a nice way to do it.
Okay, that's what it is.
He was thinking more about whether or not you should stay on the throne or move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I just think that being at home and the crowd getting wound up and things like that. The other thing that goes into this for me, the pressure changes if Dallas wins this game.
Does it?
Even though that they're still up, they're still in the driver's seat. But now you go back home. And, you know, you're like, well, we better win this game, you know, tonight, meaning game 6. But we don't win this game tonight. They got home ice. So the pressure changes a little bit.
And don't you think there's still, for as good as Stuart Skinner has been in this series, and Skinner's numbers are absolutely incredible. He's at a .939 save percentage, 176 goals against, and a shutout. But everybody's seen the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with him, meaning
which one's the worst?
Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Hyde's the
Yeah,
worst?
Dr. Jekyll.
Well, he's Jekyll, and he's still going to be Jekyll, I think. You have to turn him into Hyde.
If the Stars, you talked about being dormant, the hibernating offense. I think it's fair that we all believe that they're capable of breaking out, that they look like they're in a slump. If they do, and it starts to make Skinner look rattled, like he did in the third period of Game 1. Again, it's a small portion of this series at this point. And he's looked really good in the last 3 games and really the first 2 periods of Game 1. But you wonder, with the pressure changing, they have to get there first. And maybe some doubt creeping in. Are we going to get the Mr. Hyde version again? We'll see. But you got to win this one tonight to get.
But Dallas
that chance.
has to put that doubt into his mind, and so they're going to have to go. As I said the other day, they have to go to for what appears to be uncomfortable areas of the ice of Edmonton's coverage. They need 12 forwards to want to go to the areas that Sam Steele goes to, that Colin Blackwell goes to. They have to be willing to go to those areas that those guys have no problem going to.
Why is it that, no, I'm not singling anybody out, but why is it in your mind, and this is not a trick question, this is just asking for the viewers, that scorers that have lots of success in the regular season don't necessarily go to those areas in the playoffs? What's the punishment?
They don't face this. The punishment is what's happening right now. They don't face those situations in 82 games because teams don't play that way. Right. For the most part. I mean, teams buckle down and they figure out and they watch how you score goals. And then when you do your due diligence as far as coaches go, and you go, you notice how they do this and that guy's over there and that guy's over there. We're not going to let them go here because, they have the ability to score goals. The other thing is they have taken a lot of their speed away from them going through the neutral zone. Their gaps have been great. And so they kind of push up on you. They almost dare you to try to throw something behind you and create a foot race. Where I think Dallas has always been good in creating foot races, and you can kind of get, but they're not getting in those opportunities the way that Edmonton wants to forecheck and stay up through the neutral zone. A lot of times when you get to their blue line heading into the offensive zone, you don't see an outnumbered rush, and they're still sometimes caught in the, we're going to carry it in and we're going to go set up. They hold the gap, they turn it over, and maybe Edmonton doesn't go down that time and do something, but time after time after time, with that group of players that they have, or at least 3, 4, 5 of them, yes, they're going to be missing Hyman. That's a big loss for them. But they have that ability to be that quick strike kind of team.
This sounds very obvious, but scoring more than 1 goal would help because they've scored 2 in their last 3 games and no more than 1 in their last 2. They have to be prepared to win any possible way. 1-0 would be fine. If it takes 5 overtimes, they don't care. They want to win. But Lud, scoring more than 1 goal would definitely help against the team.
Well, and I think the other thing is scoring the first goal would be something would be important to them. I think that if they can, again, use the crowd, that's why I say I think that, to me, you have to be more physical. There has to be more of a presence in front of the net. So the more pucks you put into the offensive zone and not turning them over gives you an opportunity to create the momentum for the fans to stay in it. You got to finish some hits. It can't just be Mason Marchment and Beck and Thiel or whoever's in the lineup tonight. It's got to be guys that don't normally do it. It has to be everybody. And I think you can create the momentum and then you create some territorial time. But off of that, you have to then gravitate to the net. There has to be traffic in front of that guy. Because right now, it looked like when he was on his knees and flailing around and stuff like that, he was vulnerable. Right now, he's just kind of calm. He moves from here, he moves to here. He can stand up. He's a big guy. He can look over the top of everything and he can see things. I don't think there's enough obstruction for him, and you can bump into guys like that. The way that they play, there's a lot of guys standing right on top of the crease that have the opponent's jersey on. If you get between him and the goaltender, or them and the goaltender, now all of a sudden you're not really getting pushed on him. I mean, you're getting pushed on him. You're not the one doing the illegal things. You're getting pushed into that area.
You just happen to be in the area.
And if I fall down and fall on top of the goaltender, Darnell Nurse pushed me there. Kulak pushed me there. I mean, that's what they do. So they've got to find a way to get interior.
Well, we've been talking a lot about getting out of this slump of scoring, and that was the clip I have for you today from Stars head coach Pete DeBoer when asking what he and the coaching staff can do.
You can't coach the puck into the net. You know, you set the table, and you got to be careful with that. You set the table to create looks. You know, we can get more traffic, hit the net more, you know, look for more rebounds. I think we're doing that, you know, but we're doing a lot of good things to get those looks. We got to stick with it. I think every team goes through stretches like this, but, you know, we're creating the looks, which is, for me, the important part, and then you've got to stick with it and find a way.
I don't think, Luds, that I'm being blindly optimistic when I think that there's scoring to be had from this team. I don't think that it's smoke being blown up anybody's rear end that Matt Duchene says, we know we can score. He said that this morning. And usually what happens is that a slump can break at any time. And he said, what happens on the other side of that slump? You go on a scoring streak. You can get on a heater. Well, it feels like it's right there. But the question is, will it be too late?
Well, it's too late. That means it's in summer hockey, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they all say it. Even to me, when Pete's talking there, I get the sense he's saying, you know, we just got to do it more. He doesn't have the answers. He can't figure it out either. And I think it's just as simple as demanding that you have to go into those areas, because whatever they're trying now isn't working. And there's so many times when you watch games back and you look at their goaltender and their defenseman in front, and the clips are fast, and they go through here, and you're like, well, where are all the jerseys with the stars on it? And then you go down to the other end of the rink, and there's Corey Perry falling on your goaltender. There's Hyman. There's Podkolzin. All these guys are just crashing to the net at both ends of the rink. And so I just think they need to take a page out of Edmonton's book and see what happens. Try it and see if you get some quality chances. Maybe it goes in off of somebody's foot. Remember the one chance where Jamie actually got into the goaltender and he kicked the puck loose?
Yes.
Get a couple of them. I mean, he didn't get a penalty for it.
Stir it up.
He didn't get a penalty for it because he got interior and one of their defensemen pushed him into the goaltender. Get more of that and let some more loose pucks lay around.
Dallas, here's the bad news. Dallas is 0-16 in franchise history when trailing 3-1 in a playoff series.
Well, there's only 8% of anybody that's ever come back in history.
It happens, but it's not a very high number. Edmonton.
It goes to 20% if you win this game, though.
I like that.
There you go.
Edmonton 17-1 all time when leading 3-1 in a playoff series. Most teams that have a 3-1 lead, go, as you said, go on to win it. However, here's some good news for you. The Stars are 4-0 in their last 4 Game 5s when trailing 3-1 in a series dating back to the 2007 conference quarterfinals, and they're 8-4 in their last 12 games when facing elimination, going back to the second round of the 2020 bubble playoffs. So this team, not always the same players, but has a history of getting up for the fight. That's the good news. Maybe a little hope of, as we said earlier, you get a win tonight. You find a way to gut one out. However you do it, maybe things get the heat turns up just a little bit on the Oilers up in Game 6. But you got to get there.
I mean, those are all good stats, and you can read it to the 20 guys that are in the lineup tonight. They just have to be willing to do something a little extra. Mm-hmm. That's the bottom line.
Do you think that urgency comes into the group, or do you think that could work the wrong way and make them more nervous?
I actually had a better feeling driving here today about this game than I did the last couple games.
Why?
Well, because they're coming home, and I think pride. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, it's pride. I mean, nobody wants to go where you get 4 games beat in a row, especially at this time of the go. It's awful getting beat 4 in a row during the regular season. This one here, you've got a lot of questions to answer during the summer, and then there'll be questions and things for management, coaches, the whole 9 yards. People are getting fired. This guy shouldn't come back. These guys should get traded. They don't want to have to go through that kind of stuff. But that's not for them to worry about. I just feel that you're going to, hopefully in this round, this may be the best game that you see this team play. Whether they win it or not, I don't know. And if they do win it, it's still going to be an uphill battle going back into that building.
Winning tonight doesn't guarantee you anything except another kick at it.
What it does is you're on life support, but you're not DOA.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nope, they haven't named a time.
Yeah, it's not that do not resuscitate kind
That's
of plug
right.
that all my family's instructed to pull.
We will talk about Mattias Ekholm, Zach Hyman, Jeff Skinner, and more as we get ready for Oilers Stars Game 5. This is the pregame show continuing here on DLLS.
Speaking of do not resuscitate, let's have a little beer tonight. What's up, Stars fan? Biggest game of the season. Enjoying the game hopefully will be easy, so let's not overthink it. What to wear? You know what to do. Throw on that favorite Stars jersey, that lucky Stars jersey, whatever it is. Not sure what to serve your friends? That's even easier. Pick up some pizza and grab some Bud Light and stock up the fridge. Maybe a couple bottles of bourbon if you should want. See, it's just that easy. Just like Bud Light, which is always brewed with 4 simple ingredients for a clean, crisp taste. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Remember, do it responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light, St. Louis, Missouri.
Let's just talk about Sleeper for a second. It's the best fantasy league platform out there. You can put your puck or your ball knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each week. In just mere moments, it's the moment you're all waiting for. Producer John will be making his Game 5 picks for tonight, and we'll see what he comes up with. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper keeps you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news and major injuries. Stay ahead of the game and keep track of league updates in real time, so you're always informed and ready to outsmart your friends. Or in Sean's case yesterday, he finds out that his friends paid more attention to it, and they outsmarted him in his fantasy football league through Sleeper. If you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Stars for $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply to any contest, doesn't have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states, including Texas. Check out Sleeper today. And now, here's John.
And since this could be my final Sleeper entry of the season, I decided to put in hours of research and really dig deep, put all my brain cells together for this one. Connor McDavid, more than 1.5 points. Jamie Benn, less than 0.5 points. Cody Ceci, less than 1.5 blocked shots. $10 wins $46.69.
Thank you, John. All right, let's talk about Mattias Ekholm.
Oh, we have Sam, by the way.
And we have Sam. We'll get to Sam
We
in
got Sam.
just a second
He
here.
found his way into
Actually,
Dallas.
We should probably go to Sam
We
first,
probably
and then we'll
should.
talk. So let's
Since
bring
we
Sam
finally
in.
have him.
Since we have him, and he's there, and he doesn't want to miss the line rushes. Sam,
Hey,
how are you?
What's up, guys?
Uh-oh.
Well, now he is. There he is. So, Sam, we are getting ready for obviously a must-win game. We've talked about it, do or die. What are you feeling? Since there really is no lineup news for the Stars that we can talk about until the warm-up begins, unless you have hunches, things in your gut.
Yeah, I have nothing official, like you said, but the only hunch I have is that the Stars have lost 3 straight games without Ilya Lyubushkin in the lineup, and not to say that's the reason. Pete DeBoer said this morning, we've put the best lineup out there to win the game, but Lyubushkin's a huge part of their penalty kill, and he's been super successful in their penalty kill throughout the season, and especially in the playoffs. Their penalty kill has been getting torn up here lately. And Pete's talked about, I mean, I think he said it after the last game. He said, we got to kill a penalty here. And the frustration was very obvious in that term. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Lyubushkin come back in the lineup here. I don't know whether that would be Petrovic coming out or whether it would be Cody Ceci, who's had his struggles here and there. But I would bet on him joining the lineup here tonight. And then the only other one for me is whether or not they decide to make a change it forward. And I think that the key there is they believe they've played really good games. They believe they deserve to win one, if not both, of these games, as I get joined here by someone that we all know very well. But I think that's the key here, is looking at that only as a lineup change. And I think that for Dallas, their belief stands with, we've played well enough to win. And you choose to believe him or not, but that's kind of what they've been rolling with here for the last few games.
We talked already on the show about Lud's sort of keys to tonight of getting to the net, going to those hard areas, all those things. I know the team is trying to be patient and not get caught on what they call opportunistic counterattacks by the Oilers, but they have to kind of go for everything tonight, don't they?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I just wrote about this over on our site a couple hours ago. Dallas, we know Dallas is even keeled. We know they're mature. We know they're veterans. We know all that. And it comes from Pete DeBoer. It comes from their captain. It comes from their leadership. It's helped them a ton throughout the season, right? We've seen them go through the beginning of the season where nobody could score. Their power play was a nightmare. They were getting all kinds of issues with Jason Robertson and other players. They pushed through that. Then we saw them lose Miro Heiskanen, their best player, to an injury that looked significant. They pushed through that multiple times. The huge collapse here at home, the losing streak to finish the season, getting through first 2 rounds despite playing without 2 of their best players and really not playing their best hockey for most, if not all of those series, and still finding a way. That I give them full credit for the ability to stay even keeled, not overreact, whether it's good or bad, and I know that it's helped them. However, they've also fallen short here now. This would be 3 years in a row if they fell in the Western Conference Final again. At some point, you have to have a killer instinct, and I'm not saying they don't have it. I'm just saying we haven't seen it yet. And I would love to see Dallas come out here tonight in this game and then going forward and take that next step. I don't know specifically what it looks like, but we'll know when we see it. And I just don't think they've taken it to that next level. I haven't seen this team play with a level of desperation that I've seen with other teams. I've seen Edmonton come out here and play with that desperation, play with that level of intensity. And at times I've wanted Dallas to respond to it, whether it was on the ice physically or on the scoreboard, and I just haven't seen it. So when you look at the Dallas Stars' last playoff runs, they have played with their food a little bit at times, where I know they've played good teams, but they haven't been able to close teams out their first or sometimes even their second opportunity to do it. And it's pushed them to 6, sometimes 7 games. That can run you dry, right? It can run your team down, especially when you're playing really good teams. And Edmonton was able to do that. Edmonton knocked off teams in 5, 6 games. They're able to kind of roll in here. They look like the fresher team right now. We saw this morning, Edmonton's on full morning skate. They're peppy. They're full of energy. They're chanting. They're screaming. They're laughing. Meanwhile, Dallas has a pretty light optional because I think their guys are just tired. And I'm really interested to see whether they have enough here to dig deep, take it to the next level, and find that desperation and intensity that they'll need here, not only to win tonight, but to make this a series.
Sam, you mentioned the word desperation. We always talk about desperation at this time. I think, and I don't disagree with that, but I think you have to come out and you have to want to win this game more than Connor McDavid wants to go back to the finals. I watched that guy play, and that's not desperation. He wants to get back there along with his buddy, and along with Bouchard, and, there's more guys than just Connor McDavid, but they want to get back there and play a team that's been to the finals 3 times in a row, that they might be getting tired, and this is their time. I think that Dallas has to just want to be able to play in a game 6. They have to show them that at the start of the game. And I just think that there is a way to show them that instead of us going through you tonight, you're going to have to come through us. And that's what I'm hoping we see.
Completely agree.
And then lastly, we were talking about Matt Duchene's comments about you never know when a slump can break into a scoring streak the other way. And that's obviously the hope, is that it breaks today and off they go.
Yeah, and that's, as much as fans hate it, I know fans are frustrated. Fans hate to hear we played well, we're getting better. And Pete DeBoer stuck to it. His team has stuck, whatever the word is, to that throughout the playoffs and really throughout this series where, this team has scored 2 goals in 3 games. But they don't look like a team that has scored 2 goals in 3 games. When you talk to them, when you hear the way they talk about it, there's a little bit of frustration because they truly believe they should be scoring. They truly believe they should be winning these games. And that is either going to pay off here tonight, or we're going to be talking about how they just were never able to find it and they lose here tonight and the series and season ends. And I think that's the key. And that's why I talk about that, whatever you want to call it, killer instinct, desperation, want, will. That's where you have to take it to the next level, because if you come out here tonight and give anything but 110% of your effort and all of your intensity, the team, the fans, the coaches, the management, they're all going to be disappointed. And we're going to be looking at this season as another disappointment. As funny as that sounds, to look at Western Conference Final Game 5 as a disappointment, that's where this team is at right now. This team is not looking to make it to a conference final or make the playoffs. This team is wanting to make it to a final and win the dang Stanley Cup here. And I just want to see tonight. I don't know who it comes from. I don't know if it's the coach. I don't know if it's the captain. I don't know if it's the core. I don't know who it is or what needs to happen, but I want to see it here tonight. And that's what I'm going to be watching for, to see not only, as Lud said, how they start this game. Get the first goal for once would be nice, but show that intensity, show that will, and make Edmonton come through you to win this game tonight.
Sam, for people that aren't on Twitter or weren't looking at it, can you give us a quick insight as to what Gary Bettman said about a future outdoor game in Dallas?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked to owner Tom Ghilardi, can't remember now, a few weeks ago at the beginning of the playoffs about some similar things, and he mentioned that they're working on getting a game back to Dallas. Gary Bettman was asked today, same thing, and he didn't say anything official. He said there's no official announcement, but he kind of smirked and said, we're working on it. We're trying to make it happen. So to me, it didn't sound like we hope this happens in the future. It sounded like something pretty imminent, and it's something that's going to happen pretty soon here. And I'm just so excited for it. I think that Dallas deserves it. We know the Winter Classic was one of the biggest successes of the whole outdoor game since it started. I'd love to see another one come here in Dallas.
All right, Sam, get ready for the game. We'll talk to you in the post game. Thank you.
All right, guys.
There you go, Sam Nestler. All right, Luds. Mattias Ekholm coming into the lineup as expected. He said, as long as everything goes well in the warm-up, and then he laughed. He's clearly feeling good about his recovery. This is a guy who was injured on April 11th after playing a couple of shifts. He had to leave, but he had missed the previous 7 games. His last full game of hockey was March 25th in Edmonton against Dallas when he played almost 23 minutes. They're not going with 11-7. They get him in. Troy Stetcher has to come out. And this is a big deal for them. Like you said, maybe not tonight, but for if they have hopes of continuing on and playing more hockey. But here's what I clipped a quick thing from Chris Knobloch this morning because I thought it was interesting, the conversation about your team and your game is playing well and you're making a change.
Chris, when you have a defensive group that's been playing as well as this one has, only given up, 2 goals in 3 games now, what are those conversations like about changing that group up, even when Mattias is ready? That must be hard to make a decision when they're going as well as they are.
It is hard. Now, that being said, we've also, we're getting some big saves from our goaltender, and that's part of the reason why our goaltending or our goals against is down. But those 6 are playing really well. There's a good rhythm. There's good flow. Pairs are working very well together. But anytime you have an opportunity to add a significant player to your lineup, somebody that's been one of your best players for a long period of time, when he's healthy, when he's ready, it's pretty tough to keep a player like that out. So, it's unfortunate. The 6 have been playing really well, but we have the opportunity to add Ekholm. We feel that's the right thing to do.
It's a no-brainer, Luds. It's the same for having Heiskanen in, but it is so common in the NHL that when things are going well, you don't mess with success. You don't change things. Is there any debate for a heartbeat about keeping it the way it is because you're up 3-1 and your group is playing well? Or is this an absolute, don't even worry about it, we need to get him going?
If you're bringing in a number 5 to replace a number 6, you're bringing in a number 1 defender to replace a number 5. It's a no-brainer. And I think that they're also looking at, from what I heard, it's a groin thing or something like that, which can be very touchy.
Finicky?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can overstride it. And so I'm guessing that part of this is that they could probably, they think he's at a point where he can get in and play. But will he go and push it as hard as he possibly can tonight? Bottom line is it gives him a game or 2 or 3, they think, before they can play in the Stanley Cup final. So he can kind of use these games is to get as close up to speed as you can. But yeah, there's no, when you have a player like this would be the same thing if it was Miro coming back in.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Although, to be
Dumba's
fair,
been playing pretty good.
Ekholm's a very good defender.
Yeah.
Miro's
well, no, you're
he's
bringing
a
in your
different
top
level.
player.
It's the same,
that's a top player.
It's the same
Bouchard is our
system.
top offensive guy.
Yep.
This is your top defensive
Correct.
guy. Nurse would be your second one. But it'd be just like going, okay, well, do we bring Miro in tonight, or is Matt Dumba playing okay?
Right.
We've won 4 games in a row.
It's a
See you,
no-brainer,
Matt. Yeah.
even if it messes with what's been working.
Yeah.
Obviously, we talked a lot about Zach Hyman yesterday on our show when we found out he was having wrist surgery. Jeff Skinner will check in. He's played one playoff game in his entire career, and it was game 1 of the first round against LA. 1,078 career regular season games. He'd never played in the playoffs until this year. He played the game 1, and he hasn't played in over a month. Obviously, they've been saying nice things. He's been a good pro. He comes in the lineup, but this is still a deep team, but it hurts not having Hyman for the top line and for their power play.
Well, I mean, the one thing is obviously he's hungry, but he can put the puck in the net. You know, I think there's one thing he's done in his career. He's been able to score goals. I think he's had 40 goals in his career when he was in Buffalo a few times. So he's an offensive kind of guy, whether how much they play him and where they play him and things like that. But again, that's like a placeholder for putting McDavid and Draisaitl with more ice time. You know what I mean? The more that they can get this series over with, the more rest that they feel that they can get. So again, I think that they're going to put him in there. That's great, and let's see what he does. But I would expect that he may play 7 minutes tonight. He may play 6 minutes tonight. You never know. He may have a good first 4 or 5 shifts, and he gets 12, 14 minutes tonight.
We don't have the lineups yet, but they're out in the warm-up now. Maverick Bourque is on the ice. Evgeny Donanov is out there. No Oscar Beck, no Ilya Lyubushkin. What do you think we're going to see? Are we going to see a different-looking group of forwards tonight for this game?
I hope so. Just me. I've thought for the last few games that I think they could use a little bit of a change, and I think Maverick can bring that. I mean, I've liked the way that he played coming down the stretch, and he was doing the little things. He was going to the front of the net. He was shooting the puck. You could see a second and third effort out of him. I thought he deserved to be playing in the playoffs. But, you know, when you're moving along, that's fine. You kind of keep it like this. But you got to change something, you know. Definition of insanity, right? So
it's the same thing over and over.
You know, I just think that you could give him, he can give a little boost to a line. He's going to add a little speed, and I think he's, you know, there's a little bit of Stankoven in him. You know, I mean,
for sure.
He goes and he shoots the pucks, and when the pucks get to the goaltender, that kind of, for some reason, that's the only time a lot of guys want to go into that area. Maybe if you find a guy that's 5'9" or 10 or 12, whatever he is, that's willing to go into that area, maybe other people will.
Lastly, we have a couple super chats, so let's get to them before we say at least so long for the pregame show. Dalton with a Madonna 99 Cup year. There seems to be a lot of Oilers fans upset with the hit on Hyman. Does any part of you feel like that hit was a response to the Rope stuff?
No, nobody's upset. That's just a hit. That's a hit that Marchman was laying on him. He didn't even hit him that. I mean, just kind of caught him in the right spot and caught his arm.
Yeah, it was unfortunate to see an injury, but that's just a
hockey
hit.
But what I do like is that Marchman was trying to hit one of the right players.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if he'd have hit him good and clean, which I think he did, then Hyman may have been hurt anyways. But, I mean, the intent was there to play the game the right way in the playoffs. It's just unfortunate for Hyman if you're an Edmonton fan, because that's a big piece of their puzzle.
Bing bang.
Burned Oils with a Canadian, Brendan Smith, and year after the Cup. Aha, rookie, Knobloch, schooling, 17-year veteran DeBoer. I mean, schooling? Sometimes it's coaching.
You win 3 games in a row, and you're picked to be the favorite to go, and you're not scoring certain – I don't know if he's schooling them, but he seems to be he's changed something in their neutral zone and the way they defend. It's your turn now to figure out what he's doing. There you go.
Can they unlock it? Can they not? We will find out. The warm-up is still ongoing. The lines look like this. Granlund, Hintz, Rantanen, Marchment, Duchesne, Sagan, Robertson, Johnston, Bourque, Ben, Steele, Blackwell. The D pairings stay the same with Lindell and Heiskanen. Or, sorry, the D6 are the same. Lindell, Heiskanen, Harley, and Ceci. So that's a little bit of a shake-up too. So just an interesting look. It looks like Maverick Bourque might be playing his second playoff game, right?
I think that's the way I have him.
So, all right. We'll find out. Luds, for Craig Ludwig, John Andersen, for Sam Nestler, I'm Owen Newkirk. It's Game 5. We'll either be happy post-game talking about getting ready for Game 6, or we'll be starting a moratorium in a few hours' time here on DLLS.
Giddy up. I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight. That too.
We all silly like the mayor.